Welcome once again to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we will be looking at the Kivy animation module. In Kivy, to animate an object or a widget, we use animation or animation transition. Anyway, let's skip with the boring stuff and just jump into the example so that you can see what I'm talking about. Now, suppose we have a button. Okay, so we have a button and we want to move this button when we press it. So in order to do this, what we need to do is we can use our animation module, which we need to import, of course. And this is how we import it, as you can see here. Now that we have imported our module, let's animate our button. Let's move it from its current position to a new position. So firstly, let us create a function. All right, so in this function, what do? We are animating. So we are animating this button, changing its position over time. And we're going to call this function when the button is pressed. So on press, self animate. Okay, let's go on and run that and see what do we see. Voila, as you can see, the button is animated exactly to that position. Yeah, so this is a simple animation, how you do a simple animation. But what if you want to also maybe change the size of the button? So meaning you don't want to just maybe move the button, but you also want to change the size. So to do so, we can just add the desired size in the animation. So we can add the desired size. Okay, all right. Let's go on and run that. So as you can see, the position and the size, they change simultaneously when we press the button. Now to make sure that our animation is smooth, there is something that we can use, and what we can use is it's the animation transitions. Yeah, so there's many different transitions that we can use. To be exact, Kivy has over 28 different transitions. Can you believe it? That's a lot, right? Yeah, so there is a lot of transitions. So transitions are represented by the letter T. I know that sometimes you think that T stands for time, but no, it's for transitions. Yes. So let's try to implement the transition into this animation and see how that goes. All right, as you can see, the difference between when you are using a transition and when you are not, there's a great difference. It's much smoother. It's always better to use a transition. Of course, you have to choose the right one. In future tutorials, I will share more about the different transitions that you get so that you can choose for yourself what is the right one. All right. So now sometimes, however, you might not want to animate, like to change the position and the size at the same time, so you and it's the same with your various animations that you might want to put on your widget. Maybe you don't want these animations to happen like at the same time, but you want the animation to go in a particular order. Like for instance, when you press that button, maybe you just want the button to move first, And then after it has moved to that position, then you want to change the size, and so forth and so forth. So in order for you to do this, actually it's quite simple for you to do this. Yeah, so as you can see here, all you have to do is you have to sort of use this plus operator, yes, this plus sign, to indicate basically that this animation is taking place, it's added to that animation. So meaning that animation takes place and then the other one takes place following each other. So by using the plus sign, you are indicating that the animation takes after the other one. Yes. So one thing that we can also do is, because we're dealing with one or two or three or even more animations which are taking place one after the other, we might maybe want to also control the duration. Like maybe our first animation, we don't want it to take that long, then the other one we want it to take a bit longer. So there is a way to control the animation duration. For durations, yes, and duration is measured in seconds, basically. So it's measured in seconds. Yes. Yeah, so let's go on and code this and see how it goes. Let's run that. Wow. All right. As you can see, it's cool, right? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So basically, when it comes to animation, there's literally so much you can do. You are only limited by your own imagination, basically. That's the only thing limiting you. Yeah. So try it out. Try different things and see how it goes. So now also something that you could try is alternatively, you could have the animations happen in parallel to one another. So instead of having one animation following the other, you can also have them happen parallel to each other. It's not recommended to use this sort of method. However, please feel free to try it out. Yeah, but how you make these animations to work in parallel with one another, it's quite simple. You just basically use this symbol here. Yeah, this is the operator symbol that you can use. Yeah, instead of using the plus or the addition symbol, just use this one. Yeah, so let's go on and code this and see how it goes. Yeah, so as you can see, as the widget is moving, the size is gradually increasing. Yeah, so this is like how now you animate an object, like in like parallel basically. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so that's about that. Yeah. And sometimes as well, you might want to repeat the animation over and over again. Like maybe not running the animation just once. But once you press the button, you might maybe want the animation to continue again and again and again and again, like creating some form of a loop. Yeah. So in order for you to do this, you have to use animation repeat, and you have to set it to true. Yeah, as you can see here. Yeah, so animation. So in this case, enum repeat, and then you make sure that it's true. So now, as you can see, when we run the animation, what happens? The animation repeats. It's on a loop, an endless loop, basically. This is amazing, right? Yeah, anyway, this is it for this tutorial. So please do leave a comment if you have any more questions or anything that maybe you think I should include in the following upcoming tutorials. And once again, please do support. You know what to do. Subscribe. And until next time, take care, and take care. Welcome back once again. I'm super excited. Yes, to another tutorial, part 2 of animations. Alright, so for part 2 of this tutorial, we will take a look at the animation parameters. The animation module only has 3 parameters of its own, which are the duration, transitions symbolized by the letter T, and steps symbolized by the letter S. When it comes to widget, each widget has its own parameters or set of values you can manipulate. So it's very important that you keep this in mind. Like for instance, when you put your animation, right? Or when you want to animate an object, you would maybe define the new changes in the position or the size, right? So the position and the size that you are using there, it's actually the position and size of the button that you are manipulating. Yeah, so which means if you, let's say you are manipulating something which has other different parameters, you can also manipulate them. But those values, they are sort of the values of that widget that you are manipulating. Yeah, the animation itself, actually you are only working with the duration, the transition, and the steps. I know this probably doesn't make sense, but anyway, let's just look at the examples. I think the examples usually help the most. All right, so let's take a look. What do we have? So we have a button which we are animating, right? So we are changing its position and its size. That's what we're doing to this button. All right, and we are repeating this animation. So once we run this animation, or once we start this animation, it continues on and on and on and on. All right, so suppose we want the animation, we want to like add another animation in between, but we want that animation to take longer. So meaning we want to use one animation which has a particular duration, and then another one which has a different duration. Right, so how will we go about that? This is how we're gonna do it. All right, yeah, so as you can see, we have now defined the animations and a duration. Yeah, so when we run this, what do we see? As you can see, by changing the value, the D value, we can make the animation quicker or slower, the duration of it. All right, so that's how you work with duration, and that's the first parameter. All right, yeah, so now we can take a look at the second parameter, or the other parameter that we get, which is the steps. Yeah, So this is not speaking about footsteps. I know since it's animation, you might be thinking, hey, it's footsteps, like the steps. No, no, no. So this here, basically the steps, unlike the duration, it helps you control the frames per second of the animation. So how many frames, there are per second. All right. So by manipulating the steps, you can basically like sort of allow or make the animation much smoother or not. Of course, it's not really advisable to work with this, because like some devices, they can only like work with certain frames per second. So it's highly not recommended to to define the steps. Yeah, and even if you do, you have to like be very cautious with the values that you use. Right, so in this example, just to show you the effects that the steps have, so in this example we will use frames per seconds of 10. All right, and then we'll also use the frames per seconds of 20, of 40, and of 80. So let's do this and see the difference. Okay. All right. Yeah, so there we go. We have the frames per seconds for 10, for 20, for 40, and for 80. Do you see any difference? A great difference, right? Yeah, all right. So that's the second parameter. And now let's go on and look at our third parameter, aka the transition. Yes. Yeah, so when it comes to transitions, there are over 28 transitions. All right. Yeah, so in this tutorial we won't go over each and every one of them. Yeah, but what I want you to just get an idea of is how to like use them in a way. So to put transition, it's very easy. All you have to do is put the name of the transition. So it's t equals to the name of the transition. Yeah, so let's just take a look at this example. Yeah, okay, what do you see? Yeah, so as you can see, when you put the transition name, then you can sort of like run this and you can see the transition happen. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for today. So in the next tutorial, we will be looking at these different 28 transitions. Yeah, these 28 transitions. Yeah, yeah, so until then, please subscribe. Don't miss out on the next upcoming video. Hit the notification bell. Until next time, bye bye and bye. Now, as I already mentioned in the previous tutorial, there are 28 transitions. Imagine that. So let's take a look. Let's go over each and every one of these transitions. Yeah, please let me know which one is your favorite transition. My favorite one is the outbounce one. But anyway, let's go on and see the different kinds of transitions you get. Enjoy. Did you find your favorite transition? Well, if not, don't worry about it. Just continue trying to implement them until you do. Anyway, that's it for today's tutorial. Take care, take care. Don't forget to subscribe. Welcome once again to another tutorial from Code Slice. Yeah, Code Slice. Alright, so we are still going on strong with regards to the animations, and we in this tutorial will be going deeper much deeper. Yeah. So the animation module, it has three events. There's three events which you can use. Now, how do you use an event? So you have to bind the event to the animation. All right. So ni animation dot bind. All right. Yes. Yeah. So don't worry, I will sort of show you step by step how you use these events. All right. So the very first event that you get, it's the on start event. Yeah, as the name suggests, it is an event which is fired when the animation starts. So animation.bind, all right, so on start, and then you put in the function that you want to call when the animation starts. So in this case, when the animation starts, we want to print this variable or the string or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, all right. So when we go on and run this, let's go on and code this and implement and see how it goes. Yeah, as you can see, when we start, when the animation starts, this function is fired up. That is how you use the onStart event. All right. The second kind of event that you get is the onComplete event, which is also self-explanatory. Yeah, so when the animation finishes, then this event is called up. It's fired when the animation is it's completed. So keep in mind, if you are using animation repeat, this event would never be called because it's only called when the animation stops, when the animation ends. All right. Yeah, so make sure your animation repeat is off. Yeah, how you do that, you say false, you make it false. All right, or you just, yeah, completely don't work with animation repeat. All right, so when we go on and run this, what do we see? As you can see, on complete, when the animation ends, this function is called up. In this case, we are just printing these variables or values or whatever you want to call it. Yes. All right, with the third kind of event, the third and final, it's the on progress. Yeah, so this event, as the name once again suggests, when the animation is happening, that is when this event is called or is fired. All right. Yeah, so let's go on and see how this works and implement it. Cool, right? Yeah, it's very, very cool. Yeah. Yeah, so I've never really tried this before, but what if we just use all, we call all of these, we use all of these events, all of them, all at once? What will happen? Let's go on and try this. Wow, cool, right? As we can see, as we can see, so we can see that when the animation started, this event, with this, we managed to print this, all right? And when the event was in progress, all right, and when the event, the animation ended. Yeah, so these are the only three events that the animation module has. Um, yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I'll definitely cover it in future tutorials. Until next time, take care, take care. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. You were wrong, you were wrong. We are not done with the animation. We are going deeper and deeper. Okay, too bad my voice is not deep. Anyway, yeah, so welcome back once again. Yeah, so what we're going to be looking at here, we are going to be looking at some functions that come along with an animation module. So firstly, we will look at this function called animated properties. Yeah, so animated properties, it's quite cool to use this. Yeah, so please let me know in the comment if there's any other way you can use this or how this function can help you. But in this case, what we will use this for, we will use this animated properties to sort of return the animations that have been used on the button. Yeah, so we have our button here, which has these sets of animations which have already been put on it. So suppose we want to like print out the animation that took place on this button. So how do we go about it? We use this animated properties. So we print the animated properties yeah, so let's go on and do that. Wow, so as you can see, we can now see the animation we just did. And as you can see, so we moved the button to this position, and we see that the size also increased at the same time. Then after that, we move the button to the new position, and we can see how basically, once again, there was a decrease in the size and all of that. So it's cool. Using this animated properties, we can see all of this. It's quite amazing. Yeah. So there's also something we can also use as well, to find like the duration of the animation. So let's say we want to find out the duration, or the and also the transition we used. Yeah, so we can, once again, similar to last time, we can do this, as you can see here. All right, so when we run this, what you see, as you can see, we are able to get the duration and the transition. We can get the duration used and the transition. However, something that I have noticed when it comes to using to trying to get the transition used is that whenever I try to use the transition when there's like a lot of transitions that are taking place, the transition seems to remain the same, or I get the same outcome for the transition. So I think that I'm not sure if this is like an actual problem with with the module itself. Please let me know in the comments. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Yeah, and once again, don't forget to subscribe until we Until the next tutorial, take care, guys, and continue coding. Yeah, all the best.